Hello, it's a day Jedi. See what I did there? Hello and welcome to the temporary name of Pulsing Reviews. We review games based on four qualities, which are story. This consists of main story, side quests, gameplay, which relates to the gameplay flow and how easy it is to unlock new abilities, and graphic. I consider graphics a part of gameplay. The music gameplay, well, I consider graphics part of gameplay. I already said that. Music relates to the background music, specific scene music, how it flows to the story, the audio balancing, and stuff like that. And performance. I consider all of these for a cornerstone of gaming. These days it's performance. Start with gameplay. Start with gameplay, which is the king of gaming, the king of all games. The gameplay is more of the same. If you play Fallen Order, you're gonna like it. If you didn't like Fallen Order, you're not gonna like it. It's more of the same. It's more of the same, really, with two new stances and stuff of that nature. It's nothing amazing-esque. The difficulty can be pretty challenging, but it's more of the same, honestly. Well, not really, because it just feels weird. It could be the performance, but it's 100% the performance, and that's where I have a lot of issues. There are some parts of the gameplay where you reach it and you say, that feels like there's a difficulty spike. You know what I mean? Like there's difficulty spikes. Some places monsters can one or two shots you, like the mobile or the rancor. The game is a dodge and parry fest. I'm gonna be brutally honest. On normal, it's a dodge and parry fest. On Jedi Grandmaster, or it's 100% a dodge and parry fest. Collectible grind in this game feels most like 70 to 80% of the collectibles. I'm just gonna be an asshole and say it. They're useless. The only ones that are useful, the echoes, the dialogue, and the customization. Let's talk about the customization. Amazing, top tier. You have millions of good chunk customization. But here's the problem: what's the point of customization if by the time you get the customization, you get all the outfits, you're near the end game already? What's the point? Unless you're playing New Game Plus. And let's be honest, most people are not gonna play New Game Plus. Yeah, it sits for me. The gameplay sits at a 2.0. Let's talk about the story. I believe the story is decent. It's the same. It's almost the same-ish as the previous entry, but it's a solid entry. It's nothing like, oh my god, better sequel. God of War Ragnarok had the same issue. It's not better than the first game. It's there. You know what I mean? It's at the same level. It didn't beat it. There are amazing moments in the game. Amazing tearful moments. You'll probably get a tear or two. Probably get angry a couple of times. I would say this about the game. I love I think I put Star Wars Fallen Order story on a higher tier than this one, because it's your first impression with the new evolution in this everlasting intellectual property. Side quests in this game felt more like a fetch quest. There's the bounty hunter quest line. Do it. This is one of the ones I'd say do it. There is a time jump in this game for I think 2 to 3 years, and there is a book that explains some of what happened in those 2 to 3 years. And you're gonna need to read it to get info on what happened between them, on why they're separated and stuff like that. I wanted to know how they separated. Oh, there's a book I need to read. Oh, I don't like that. Please put info that what happened. I don't like that. Let's talk about the music. The background music fits the game. It's Star Wars. You don't need that much work. You can rely on previous. You don't need to do it. It's nothing. You don't hear a lot of stuff original, but more of you have a good amount of reference to refer to it.
How feeble.
The special scenes, I'd say, are pretty decent. Nothing memorable, but they fit the scene. It's good music. It's not like trash music. It doesn't fit. It fits really well with the game. But you don't remember. It's not like you bop to it. For me, my person, it's not like you bop to it at the end of the day. It's there. It's cool. You might think about it every so often. Oh, what was the music like? Oh, I kind of remember it. Like 6 months. Oh, I can't remember it. It was a good game. Blah 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 blah. It feels like that. There is audio level issues because I feel like most games do not prioritize dialogue, then sound effects, then music. Dialogue, sound effects, music. I had an issue with this game because Dialogue sound effects to me were all on the same level, and sometimes they bleed because if you have a bigger bass or bigger some sort of sound thing, it can overcast the dialogue. Like especially at the time you might miss words. You might not miss words. You might be confused about the words. Like I had this problem with Ragnarok. I could not understand like the specific intro section where I had to replay it 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. Like what? What did that person say? Especially when it's audible yelling, it hurts more. Yeah, it feels like music. Feels like a solid 2.0. Gameplay as well is a solid 2.0. Let's talk about what most people are here for. The performance. The performance of this game is very atrocious. The only reason this stayed on the digital storefront was because it was barely playable with minimal crashes. That's the only reason. On the console storefront anyway. This game is Cyberpunk 27 launch condition level of bad. It's that level of bad if you realize it. It's at that similar level. But because it was playable, 30 frames per second felt like I was watching someone do their PowerPoint presentation. 60 frames per second felt like I was going through my Windows photos, and it hangs up every so often. The problem is the ray tracing is being forced on console users. I was in areas in the game where bloom was in effect, like bloom and ray tracing are the biggest hurdles. But bloom was in effect, I didn't have that big of a frame drop, frame timing issues. Anytime I had areas that had huge, that you need to ray trace a huge amount of places. Oh, issues across the board, bro. Issues across the board, bro. I literally in some boss where I had to switch from 60 FPS to 30 FPS mode because so I won't get input delays because I was playing Jedi Grandmaster and I was forced to reduce my difficulty. It was one of those games where I like playing games on the hardest difficulty because it's fun. I say, oh, this is how this character, if they were in real life, how they would experience that situation. Yeah, ray tracing is forced on the console players. As far as I played this during launch, I've been lazy and not doing this review. Ray tracing in general requires a beefy computer. You can have selective ray tracing, like in Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, where they're very selective where they use it, and it's very optimized in how they use it. And there's no point for not to play on ray tracing 60 FPS mode. That's how it is, and yeah, like you have to be very selective in how you use it. And Insomniac are the fucking wizards in the game development industry, and they'll be able to do it. Ray tracing, like how it's put in Jedi Fallen Order, where everything is requires a beefy computer. It's not selective in its nature, and that's the huge issue, bro. It's not selective in its nature, and this game got me pissed. This game didn't get me pissed from the gameplay stuff. I just said, screw it. And I rated it at 0.5 because it's barely playable. Here's my in conclusion. Jedi Survivor has a pretty decent story, gameplay. It's above average in all games except for its performance. Performance is the queen of gaming, while gameplay is king. Without these two in sync, you will always not enjoy yourself. This game feels like an 8 to 8.5, maybe stretch it if you're a 9, if you're a really huge Star Wars fan, if the performance was up to par. This game sits at passable 6.0 to 6.5 because the performance was horrible. I'll probably raise it to 7 to 7.5 in a year out. I'll come back to it in a year when it's on EA Play. No. This is Newbie from Outdoors, and thank you for tuning in. If you'd be so kind to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.